Nyada ba yangaran wajo tonangaran ot. Nyada ba wajo angaran. Naram benar para wajo. Benar wajo angarana kalja not. That's for water dreaming.
Water is so sacred for Aboriginal people and animals.
Water's life. Water really is what makes all of us exist. It's an absolute basic human need, just behind oxygen, really.
We need clean water every day to survive, and some people in rural areas don't get that privilege.
As a tourist, you just don't think about if you have it or not. You just expect it to be the tap, right?
Water has always been scarce here in South Australia, in Adelaide. When the first settlers came here, the River Torrens was often low in water. People had to pay for water carters, and in fact, the government at the time installed the first dams up in the hills. They're still in operation to make sure that we had water. And of course, as the driest state in the driest country, the Indigenous people learned to live with the bits of wet weather and with the long dry periods, and so their numbers were always an amount that were just sufficient to live off the land and never overpopulate.
In a world that is fraught with so many problems, the best thing that we can do is come together to come up with innovative solutions to the problems that we have at hand. In South Australia, we are really struggling with the state of our water. If we do not conserve this precious resource, we may not have a future that is inhabitable by human beings. Please act and get involved. Thanks.
Drought is a prolonged period of less rainfall which causes shortage in the water supply chain.
In well-developed countries, people don't think about it. You consider it as a natural thing that you have water. Yeah?
I have friends and loved ones in Central Australia who are suffering from lack of water in their farmlands, and their crops and animals are just all suffering, and family, and it's something we all need, and not just us but our land as well.
I come from a farming background, so I'm really concerned about the effect of the drought on the farmers. I'm lucky to have not been from outback where people are really struggling, but it breaks my heart to see what's happening to people in the really severely affected areas, those who are having to get rid of most of their stock, those who are struggling to feed their stock, those who are struggling to feed their families. It is really a crisis. I think it needs to be managed much better in terms of the water that we do have that comes into our rivers. It needs to be managed far better. I think cubby station's a problem with the cotton. We don't need to be growing that. We need to be looking after the farms that are producing the food and so on to make our country thrive and survive on Australian resources.
Most of our farmers are affected by the drought. Things like including the financial distress, mental health issue, emotional, and they're struggling to cope, feed their livestock due to the price increase of fodder, costs associated with the plant and equipment, and the labor costs.
I've seen so many lush, beautiful areas, and I've seen areas that were barren and sad and abandoned. It was not what I envisioned seeing when I came to the country.
Because we need water strong. That means we love our water because it's so sacred for us. God bless.
Adelaide has always been dry, it has always been drought prone, and water here is always especially precious.
Just showering, the watering of the lawns and gardens, even the dishes, the washing, just simple things like that in everyday life. kids with their water bottles. Quite often, I'd see their kids just bucket around with water and tipping it out onto the ground for no particular reason, and so I had to make my own children aware of, that is actually wasting water.
Basic thing in life, you can't live without it, so you need it in every single step of it.
You don't think about it, but you need it. That's how obvious it is.
We used to it that we have it, and we don't think much about that. We really run out of water.
One bath did everybody, the whole family. A tank full of water was really precious, and you saved every single drop. So a shower was an absolute and utter luxury.
No farms, no food. Water is just such a key element to the human condition and existence, and it's highly important. It's not highly important, it's essential.
Those people who've lived in the country a long time treasure the water. We know how scarce it is, appreciate when we've got it.
We can't live without it, can we? So, it's one of our most sacred resources that we have. If we lose that, then what is there? What is there? Wine?
I feel as though the government should, instead of paying more money to farmers afterwards, do more to help prevent drought. So focus more on planting more trees to help rainfall.
Australia is already like, you have a outback, dry land, and the people are around this, like on the coastline. They live over there, so they are looking for water.
Yes.
Like, they don't think about it, but they live in these places where water is. But we're gonna be out of water, they have to move out. Maybe move out from the country.
Or just move out.
So people will be leaving the country areas and the areas where there's no water. So it'll end up, they'll go to other places in the world where there is water.
Yes.
Exactly.
I love animals, and to lose so many of our Australian icons is just absolutely devastating. The pain that they must be enduring, and it's actually quite upsetting, very upsetting. I've been watching or seeing, of course, on social media a lot of what's happening. And over here in South Australia, there's not much that I can do from here except send lots of love and prayers to everybody over there and just watch the devastation that's happening. And it really is upsetting seeing the animals in so much pain and suffering.
Technology like our desalination plants are about having perhaps an expensive, but having an insurance policy for times like this when there is drought, because now is when it's needed. And if we didn't have it, some parts of the country would be in dire straits indeed.
I felt as if I was just looking at a lot of barren land that had been forgotten.
The thought of having the earth dry out, what would there be? There would be nothing left. I don't even know where to start with that, really.
I frequently take for granted the near seemingly infinite access that I have to air and water. The truth is, the grass is not greener on the other side of the fence when we are all struggling with a water crisis. Please get involved and act now.
Good morning, viewers. My name is Jaya Khoobsurat, and I am the creative producer of Tyrian Productions, which is a small film production company based in Adelaide. I have travelled all over the world making little films for a long time. I have a couple of documentaries under my belt, and now we are looking at doing a major documentary which will be looking at how water impacts our lives, how important water is, and how we can use it wisely. First of all, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of this great land called Australia. The First Nations people are the traditional landowners, and their relationship and cultural and heritage beliefs are still as important today as they have been for 60,000 years. This private fundraiser is to secure seed funding for the beginning of this project in the pre-production stages. It will help us in the research and test filming, some filming, to contract film crew to cover their costs, their contracts, and we need to hire probably a DOP and sound for the initial cinematic sound, landscapes. It will help with transport costs and accommodation, only fairly basic. We tend to live very simply when filming. We don't live extravagantly, not in my company. To also secure film footage in terms of aerial or drone shots we might need, and also to the music rights. All of this costs money. It is in the early stages. We will have a second round of funding later next year. It is vital to secure the funding before Christmas. I know that it is tight for so many people, especially as we've had the major fires. I know people are suffering, and we have a lot of animals that are needing help as well. But it is, if you can trust me as a filmmaker, your support is vital to get this project up and off the ground and running. Also too, if you'd like your name put in the credits, the end credits, when you do the donation, just add your name and mention that you'd like to be in the end credits. Just put name, end credits, it's fine. This film will be by the community, for the community. The sanctity of water has many issues that surround it. It includes the management of water, the quality of water, and the rights to water. We will be exploring that through the Indigenous First Nation people's eyes and the wider community. I hope that if you care about water, you will trust me and get behind the company to produce this documentary, support our work, support the community that are supporting the community. We'll be looking at 5 states: South Australia, New South Wales, Queensland, Northern Territory and Victoria. So there's quite a lot of travel involved in the next 4 months at least, and we'll be working through the summer days, so it's going to be very hot work. So, you know, water is what we will require as well to keep us supported. I really thank you for listening, and I hope that you will give whatever you are able to help us to get this project up and running. Thank you very much for your time, and I really appreciate your support. Bye for now.